Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me today is somebody that I have not met in person, but they are an amazing cosplayer. They have some amazing cosplays. We did a collab with that guy that just appeared on the screen behind me, and that is Killer Koz Cosplay. Killer or Koz, because I don't want YouTube or anybody coming after me. I'm just gonna call you Koz. Koz, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. It's as I said, it's been quite a day. Did my normal thing, came here. I was really looking forward to this, man, because you're awesome. The stuff you do is awesome. I
Thank
of
you.
course love sharing your stuff and freaking you. It's like you look great in the stuff you do. So I'm like this is sick.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And like, you look good too. Like your Killer Queen is amazing. And then right now, you have your Devil Trigger Virgil, and it looks awesome. It came out really well. And I know when people see it at the conventions, they're going to have the same reaction that they did when they saw your Killer Queen. And I can't wait to talk about Killer Queen and talk about your Devil Trigger Virgil. So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So the first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who you are.
Well, I started as the first son of Sparta. No, no. Basically, me. I funny enough think there's not too much interesting about when it comes to stuff I do. I'm almost like the normal person. I do the 9 to 5. I do everything. I basically remember going to Anime New York City 2019 with my best friend at the time. That was the first time I went to any anime convention, went to anything like that. And looking around, like we saw like all the people like dressed up and everything. It was really sick. All the cosplays were awesome. I got to meet Josh Grell. He does I forgot who he does on My Hero Academia.
Josh Grell, I'm about to look it up.
And he also does Issei Hyoto from High School DxD. So me and my buddy literally finished watching that. So like, yo, like freaking Josh Grell's there. That's awesome. Let's go meet him. So when we went there, I got to see everyone kind of what they did, how they would put together their stuff. There's all different kinds of people, from of course the ones first starting to the ones who've been doing this, you can tell, for like years, with all the different lights, fogs and all that. I'm like, man, yo, I'm like, since my buddy's blonde, I'm joking. I'm like, dude, you should go as Kira and I'll like see if I can like get something for Killer Queen. And he's like, bet, man, let's do it. So we basically, the one thing before COVID struck and all that, which I do, of course, want to disclose to everyone. I do disclose to everyone that, of course, I did not make the Killer Queen suit, that it was made by a wonderfully talented, amazing team. It's like at wander.commission. God bless them. If they do watch this, I love you all. Much love from America. And they really, really pulled through, made an amazing thing. So I had them commission the suit because at first it was going to be King Crimson. I'm like, dude, go Diablo. I'll go King Crimson. And then I looked at the price and I'm like, so I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me go with Killer Queen. And then after, when I got that, I was getting ready to do Anime Boston with it, and then COVID hit. So COVID hit, everything got shut down, and I was just doing normal college life and all that. And then I'm like, you know what? One day we need to break the suit back up. And he's like, hell yeah, man. So we basically that's when we hit up Anime New York City 2022. Damn, it's been November already.
I
know. We hit that up, and that's when the debut of the suit was, and it got so much positive feedback. I met so many amazing people, and I keep meeting new people. I keep running into people, and I can't be more blessed, honestly. So that's basically my story. It's not that interesting at the end.
No, I mean, it's cool. But this is the thing, though. It's like, the pandemic happened, and a lot of cosplayers, because they couldn't go to conventions, like they took their cosplays elsewhere, and like they started posting stuff on TikTok and whatnot, and became popular up there. Yes. And then when the con started opening up again, people knew who they were just because of social media and whatnot. Now, for your Killer Queen, that wasn't a thing. that was something that you actually took out, and like people saw it, and then you just got a bunch of feedback, and you got so much love for wearing this cosplay. Now, something that I find interesting about you as a cosplayer, you are very similar to my co-host from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Rebellious D. And with that being said, is that he is a cosplayer who has never shown his face. He likes to keep his personal life private, and he likes to, keep his face hidden, So I think that that's really cool and unique about yourself. Like, is that something that you're going to continue doing with your cosplays, or are you going to reveal the face one day, like they do in superhero movies?
I do the whole oh, it was me.
It was me all along.
It was ideal.
But
for now, I mainly plan to stay like this. Originally, when I was gonna make the before this, it was gonna be that samurai half mask inspired. It was based off Virgil's Sin Devil trigger, just that lower half. But then, of course, I'm like, oh, it's too revealing, eyes, hair, face, and all that, and I'd have to do my hair white and everything. So I'm like, you know what? Most of my cosplays I'm gonna either create or look at, or either probably gonna be fully like this. It's nothing personal. I love you guys. I love you. It's just that it's just a personal thing. I just, of course, I know if I ever go to work and this ever gets connected, I'm getting my ass roasted. Dang. It's gonna be nonstop. Oh my! But maybe one day. But as for now, I just mainly plan to keep it like that. So it's just it's just cool, unique. There may be I think there's four people who know what I actually look like. Only 4. I will not say who those 4 are. But they know what I look like. And surprisingly, I'm surprised a lot of people. Some people do a good amount, because at the time I temporarily was posting my Jason Todd cosplays when I went to Comic-Con. Yeah. I did I got the shirt, I got the hood, I had the little BB gun, I had like the white fuzz in the hair, and I was rocking around like Jason Todd and all that. And I was posting those pictures going like, yo, they're so cool and all that. And then kind of hit me in the face where it's like, oh man, it's like, how am I going to explain a 6 foot tall pink biker cat suit to my coworkers if I ever see it, or my parents? You see, oh my gosh, they still don't know about the Killer Queen suit, and I don't want to be the one to explain it to them.
Oh man, that's crazy. It's like you're like Peter Parker. It's like, I got to keep it a secret. Like, I can't let anybody know. And that's something that I love, because it's like, sometimes it's like everybody doesn't need to know. And like with cosplay, it's a hobby and it's something cool that we all do. And, I know people like, I mean, they don't wear masks or whatnot, but it's like, it's something that they still like to keep private from their friends and their family, just because they don't want people to judge them, and as we know as cosplayers, like sometimes people can be judgmental. Like when me and my friend went to MegaCon, we had met up with one of my friends, Chocolate Mold Man, and y'all can check out Chocolate Mold Man's interview. It is up here on YouTube. And we had met them at Universal, and me and my friend JC, we were cosplaying as Power and Himeno from Chainsaw Man.
I saw your Himeno. If that came out sick.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And so we get to Universal, and like there's nothing but like normies there, and like they're just looking at us all weird. They're laughing, they're smiling, smirking, all that stuff. And it just sucks, because it still shows you that there are people in this world that look down upon cosplayers, which sucks. So I totally understand why you don't want anybody that you work with to know what you're doing, because it's just like, you just don't want that ridicule, or you don't know like how bad it can be,
Yeah, it's pretty much it. I'm surprised, since mostly since I'm based out of New York, mainly when I went for Anime New York City and for Comic-Con. Anime New York City, going there, everyone knows. Comic-Con, everyone knows I'm basically, Comic-Con, they expect to see people. Anime New York City, it's growing, thankfully, but it's not as I guess big as Comic-Con, known by the people, because Comic-Con's been around forever. Everyone knows Comic-Con. So I was really surprised when I thought I was going to get laughed at, because the original plan with me and my buddy was to put the Killer Queen suit in a box, take
Yeah.
it to the city, take it there, and assemble it at the Javits Center. But then he's like, dude, that's gonna take up so much room. Hauling a box around is New York City is just not smart. And I'm like,
It's
yeah, I'm gonna
not.
have to take the hit. So I wore it into the city, and I wore it from where I stay at across town through the subways, and I got so many looks, so many stares. Because it's like you're walking, you see a giant pink biker cat walking through,
Yeah.
sitting there like, what the hell is that? And it's just like, and the one thing that was cool was when we came in, we saw some people coming by. There's like a person, a couple dressed as like Denji and Power coming, and well, the most heartwarming thing from it was there was like a group, a tourist group, like one of those, I guess, study abroad groups from
Yeah.
Malaysia. And when we went there, I was surprised, but they were all looking and pointing and gathering around. I'm like, oh boy, here it comes. And when they were coming up, like, oh my goodness, Killer Queen, can we get a picture of a Killer Queen? I'm like,
That's awesome. That is awesome.
yes, you can.
That is awesome. I love that. And that's always the cool thing about cosplay, because I will say that I had went to a mall here for the holidays for Christmas, and I was cosplaying as Jotaro. And I'm somebody that only, really likes to wear cosplay when I'm going to a convention. But I was going with some friends, and when I was in the mall, like so many people were coming up to me, and everybody loves Jotaro, but that's why I love being part 4 Jotaro, because you always see part 3, and now you're starting to see a lot of part 6, but you never see part 4. And like I loved it, So I want to ask you now, because we have Killer Queen, and then we have your Virgil Devil Trigger. I want to know, what are some future cosplays that you want to have created? Who's that cosplayer?
Best demiguise.
Well, it's funny enough, after this, I'm gonna be con crunching hella, because this was a bit of a mashup I've been planning for a small amount, which is kind of just the Devil Trigger Hunter Virgil, which is a bit of a Chainsaw Man mashup, because I'm like, you know what? Let me spice it up. Let me show them who the real Katana Devil is. And I'm like, you know what? Let's give that a shot. But for Castle Point coming up in April, I want to make the full Devil Trigger. And then I completed this like Saturday night. And then Monday, I'm sleeping soundly. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I need the arm piece. Yeah. I need the giant arm thing that he has that he stores the sword in. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get started on this. So I started on that. I've been conquering. So to get the actual Devil Trigger, I got like a low grade jacket with like that I'm gonna like wrap in duct tape scales. My buddy V, she's awesome. Believe her things like at Fandom Smoothie, whatever. V, you'll see this. I love you.
Oh yeah, Fandom Smoothie. Yeah. I'm friends with Fandom Smoothie.
Yes, she helped me basically find what I needed, gave me the inspiration that I'm working on. But definitely either not this year, next year, I plan on making. The whole time the dream cosplay I was wanting to make was King Crimson. I'm slowly learning the armor stuff. I was happy I got done with this, but King Crimson is definitely something I promise will be done in the future. Maybe not now.
Wait to see that.
Maybe not later, but eventually. And I can't wait to show everyone and have you guys. And definitely one day, I definitely want to see you one day when I'm in a JoJo cosplay, when you're either back in Killer Queen or King Crimson. Definitely 110%.
Hey, I'm down for it. I'm going to be coming to Anime NYC this year, so hopefully we can have that team up, and it'd be dope. I think it'd be really cool, man. We would create magic, because I like my Bites the Dust Kira. Like, it's a really cool cosplay that you really don't see at a lot of conventions. Like, you see regular Kira, but you never see Bites the Dust Kira. And when I had went to Katsucon, I thought it was cool that you had all 3 versions of Kira there, and we were the only ones. And I was just like, that's awesome, So I want to ask you now, because we've been talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and we love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I want to know, which part is your favorite part?
Man, you see, everyone always asks me this. We see when it comes to JoJo, I have many opinions. I love part four because of Josuke. Josuke, I say favorite JoJo.
Okay.
I got to part four when I was around his age, so it resonated with me. But the part of JoJo that will always seem like JoJo to me, to you, to anyone, is part two. Part
Okay.
two is where JoJo is the most JoJo. I know it's a bit of an opinion, but just Joseph, the Pillarmen, Stroheim, all the craziness that just happens, you don't get that in any other part.
I agree. There's a lot of ass pulls in part two.
It's like the ass pulls, the icicles, cars. It's like everything they keep stacking on top of the other. When it gets like part three, four, five, I feel like it becomes almost like stand user of the day type of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
which Araki falls into a pattern. But I still love Araki. But still, every part of JoJo, I loved. Part one, I will admit, when I got into it, I did struggle through it only because my buddy showed me clips of part two, and I was so excited to get into part two. I'm like, part one, here we go. So definitely part two. We love Joseph, Jackass Joseph. He was the takeaway from part two for me.
Okay, and I asked who's your favorite Joe star, but you already mentioned it's Josuke, and I like that you said that he holds a special place in your heart because y'all were around the same age. I find it interesting that you say that because Dragon Ball Z is my number one favorite anime, and Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, the Cell Saga was out, and I really connected with him because we were both the same age during that part of the series. So I get where you're coming from about Josuke being your favorite JoJo. So since I know your favorite part and I know your favorite JoJo, who is your favorite villain from the series?
Someone asked me that today, and I forgot. Oh, and I forgot to give him an answer.
Yeah. Hey, well, look, now that they watch this interview, they'll know.
They're gonna have my ass for that. But my favorite, major villain, I have to say, is Dio Part 3.
Okay.
Because Dio, when he's in Part 3, it just shows kind of how much he matured between Part 1, Part 3. He's grown physically, mentally, and I know he's like the classic, I'm gonna take over the world kind of deal, but Dio, I love his stand. I love his stand design, the world. It's awesome. And it just Dio overall is just a really, if done right and as he was, is a really intimidating villain down to the core. Like I remember from the OVAs, when they did his time stop, they had like no sound, no nothing,
Yeah.
It just disappeared. And that way it's much more scary, intimidating, like there you go, that kind of thing. So he's just down to the core. Dio is definitely a menace and a half.
Okay, so I want to ask you this now because not too many people have seen the OVA. Which one do you like more, the OVA of Stardust Crusaders or the David production version of Stardust Crusaders?
David Productions. You get more out of it. It's more episodes. It's really long.
Yeah,
but you definitely David Productions. They've pulled through with every part. They haven't fumbled one part yet. I know the big thing was like people were scared of part 6, like, oh, it's not that interesting and whatnot. But part 6, they did amazing. They reignited people's love for Jolene, and they've done every part so good that I just have to pick them over the OVA.
Okay, I will say that there are certain things from the OVA that I do like that they did compared to David Productions. Like I was a huge fan of Avdol's return in the OVA compared to in the DP version where they just find him on the island. Like that, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil. I was about to, but anybody that's watching this interview, check out the OVA when you can. And there's 2 parts. Make sure that you start with the 2000s version first, because the 2000s version, it covers the first half of Stardust Crusaders. It's only 6 episodes. Like in total, you're looking at like 12, 13 episodes, I believe. But I highly recommend it because there's some good stuff in there. So, final JoJo question before we wrap this thing up. If you could have your own stand that hasn't appeared in the series yet, what would the stand's name be and what would the stand's ability be?
Oh man, you see, that was really, you know what? There was definitely one stand I've always wanted to create, and it was the name was A7X, which was short for Avenged Sevenfold. And definitely the one ability I would give it was Nightmare, where basically it would basically put you in like a warp dimension reality of like kind of you seeing your worst nightmare, and the stand would take an ability as either either a trauma as your past, a trauma as something kind of strike from the shadows like that. And like basically the only way to defeat it is to kind of like, I guess you just notice either it acts different from all the other things around. So like it either moves slower, or like it moves a little too agile, or it kind of gives itself away so it's not totally overpowered.
Yeah.
But definitely that stand, I've always imagined that, yeah, why not? And no, I live the great life here. No drama stuff, but it's but definitely some concept like that, because I know Araki has tackled stands that do mess with like people's minds and like, people's like senses and whatnot. Definitely getting into someone's like deeper internal nightmares would be a pretty interesting concept to see. Why would I have that stand? Mainly for the name, not the ability.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds dope. And I say this every time. This is why I love asking that question, because, you know, just hearing what people say that their stand's ability would be, like, that's very bad. Like your stand's ability, because I mean, like, dang, I mean, I'm just thinking like, if like thinking about your trauma and then you're trying to fight the stand, like if you don't have a stand, you're screwed, you know. But yeah, that's really scary. Right. Hey, but I mean, it was a good answer though. So we're here at the end of the interview, and with that being said, thank you so much for joining me, Koz. And
thank you for having me, my brother.
You're welcome. It was a fun time talking to you. Before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you
at. Basically, you know what? Hold on, let me figure this out. Because I'm like, you see, I'm at the point of the night where I'm like, how do I even spell my own name? Like, did I spell it like a different way? Did I do it a different? So I'm going to do the world's most easiest thing. Easy. Doesn't take too much to do. I'm really surprised I can see through this thing now. It's that really nice. So hopefully I don't trip downstairs tomorrow. But basically, yeah, there we go. Is that good?
There you go. That is good. And I'll read it out for everybody. It's Killer Koz _ KILLERKOZ _ And are you only on Instagram, or do you have a TikTok where people can follow you at as well?
I unfortunately do not have TikTok.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The time to download it.
There's nothing wrong with that, because it's like once you get a TikTok, you become obsessed and you'll spend hours watching videos. But I mean, you can do that on with Instagram Reels now. So, you know, if TikTok does come to an end, you'll have the Reels on Instagram. So y'all make sure that y'all go and follow Koz on his Instagram, and, you know, slide in them DMs and be like, hey, you need to make a TikTok because I want to see you do some cool dances as Killer Queen, or now as Virgil in his Devil Trigger form. So Koz, thank you so much for joining me up here. And y'all know where y'all can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at King Benji _ Banks on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. So with that being said, keep that pinky up, stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.